Hey, this is Bryce VanHoosen from Talon, and you are listening to Rockum Radio.
Your album, Decadence and Decay, will be releasing May 28th. Congratulations, Bryce.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. How do you feel about your upcoming release?
I feel good. You always kind of try to outdo the last thing that you released. So for us, the first thing that we did was the Becoming a Demon EP. So I think that we definitely, mission accomplished. We outdid that with this release. I think that the everything has kind of been turned up a level compared to the EP. So I think the compositions are better. I think the performances are better. Just kind of the whole band kind of gelling as a whole just kind of turned out better. So yeah, we're super happy with it, and we will continue to be very happy with it until we have something else that we can say, well, yeah, this new one is better than Decadence and Decay. So hopefully that happens with the next one,
Do you think that EP helped in the composition of this new album?
Yeah, I mean, the EP kind of got us sort of.
Sometimes it's like a business card.
Yes, yeah. I mean, definitely it helped with just kind of getting people on the same page, where it's like, okay, this is a band. We're doing stuff. Here we are. Here's kind of like a little taste of things. Just kind of get that initial kind of interest sort of rolling. And I mean, without that, I don't think that we would have been able to sort of set things up for the release of Decadence and Decay like we have. Because, putting that out there kind of enabled us to get some contacts. It enabled us to kind of get on the radar of certain folks. So it got people kind of watching and listening. And then, once the actual album is ready to drop, then that kind of all sort of kind of comes into fruition. It's sort of like, you're just building little steps to something.
Oh, yeah. How was the creative process of the Decadence and Decay? Any story to share?
Yeah, I mean, the creative process for this, it was pretty much, I want to say, kind of similar to how we did the EP. But for the EP, we had, well, I guess it was sort of different because the EP, we actually were jamming like 3 of the 5 songs that we wrote as Spellcaster, which was the band that we were kind of doing before that band split up. So 3 of those songs were being jammed as Spellcaster. And then we called in our singer Wyatt to lay down vocals on that stuff and became Silver Talon.
Okay.
But then for the full length, they kind of changed a little bit again because some of the members that were on the EP, they left to focus on Unto Others / Idle Hands full time. So that's Gabriel Franco is the singer and main writer for Unto Others, and Colin, our drummer.
Okay.
So now we have we kind of lost a writer, so it sort of fell back on me and Wyatt to kind of pick up the slack. So a lot of what I did is just kind of doing demo songs and things like that. So we would do just kind of pre-production songs with like MIDI drums and just programmed drums.
Okay.
And then I would send it to Wyatt, and Wyatt would basically lay down some scratch vocals, and we would kind of go from there and just sort of collaborate and basically turn the song into the final product that you eventually heard.
That happened in this 2020, the past year.
So it mostly happened over 2019. Is when a lot of the demo and the pre-production work was going on. And so we started actually recording the album in December of 2019.
Okay.
And we were just about done. We started laying down vocals right when basically Donald Trump went on TV and said, "Oh, we're shutting down all travel from Europe," and then that's kind of when I feel like the pandemic really started. So we're like a few sessions in with the vocals, pandemic starts, everything shuts down, and it delays us for a number of months. So we just kind of were like,
in those moments we thought that it was just a news from a very far faraway country. And now, after more than a year, I think, whoa, what happened here?
Yeah.
Cool. My last concert was in December of 2019. So you record this song in 2019.
We started recording.
Yeah. Okay, and you continue in 2020.
Yeah. So drums were done December 2019. Then we started on guitars in like January of 2020. And then we were pretty much ready to do the vocals in March. And then that was kind of when everything sort of shut down, and we were shut down here in Oregon for a couple months at least until, I felt like June was when we were able to keep working on it again.
Okay. Do you consider that the shutdown helped in creative process in your band? Because it's like you have more time. If you remember, more than a year ago, most people didn't have too much time to do things. You know what I mean? Now,
yeah,
like we have more time.
Yeah, dude, for sure. Oh man, yeah, I've read so many books over the period of 2020. It's insane. It gave us more time to go back and to make sure that things were more or less kind of how we wanted them to be, so that there wasn't this sense of like, well, we need to rush it because, we were trying to get everything out by fall of 2020.
Okay.
So then when this happened, it was like, well, not only were the studios getting shut down, but like the record pressing plants and stuff like that, they're in addition to the pandemic, there was a fire that happened. So that kind of delayed things even more. So all of a sudden we were presented with, like you said, just time. We just had additional time to keep working on stuff.
Wow.
So, I mean, we made use of that. The other thing that we did that also helped is we went back into the studio and recorded a couple cover songs. So we recorded a cover of Savage's Power of the Night and then a cover of Jag Panzer's Viper. So would not have been able to do that without the pandemic, really.
Oh, yeah. The video clip for the song As the World Burns was released in March, correct? Mm-hmm. Okay, let me tell you, you did a good job there.
Thank you.
Very welcome. Where did you record it? Any story to share?
Yeah. So we actually recorded that up in Victoria, BC, Canada. Yeah, we shot it in Canada. We shot it in August of 2019 to a demo version of that song. So, a lot of people, of course, will kind of draw parallels and be like, oh, this is very, very 2020, right? But actually, we finished that in 2019, technically.
Okay.
The actual shooting of it. So it wasn't necessarily about 2020, but I think maybe we were kind of just so in tune with sort of where the world was at that it just got worse in 2020. But the reason we went up to Canada to record that is our other guitar player, Sebastian Silva. Mm-hmm. He's from Mexico. And so when he was out touring with Unto Others, they did a European tour in 2019. He could not come back into the U.S. because he didn't have the proper visa paperwork.
Oh my God.
So a big problem, I think, with the Trump administration's crackdown on immigration was that they were not only cracking down and making illegal immigration harder, but they were also making legal immigration much, much harder. So even though Sebastian had been living in the States since he was, really young. I think he came here when he was like 7 or 8, something like that. He still was like, there's no path to any kind of like naturalized citizenship or anything. It's just sort of like, well, sorry, man. The rules were you were able to be in America. We weren't going to deport you or anything like that. You have to have a job. You got to pay taxes. But if you want to leave to go, work somewhere else, you can't come back in.
Oh my God.
Sorry. So he could get into Canada, but couldn't get into the US. So we all went up to Canada to meet up with him and film that video.
The song Resistance 2029 or 2029 has a contribution of Andy LaRocque. Andy is a legend.
Yes.
What can you tell us about that experience?
Yeah, so since Sebastian's other band, Unto Others, they did a tour with King Diamond throughout. They did a North American tour in like the fall winter area of 2019. Okay. So with them, Uncle Acid, and King Diamond. So when they came through in Portland, of course we got to hang out with all of those guys backstage. And as we're walking in, I had brought my my King Diamond, my Fatal Portrait LP because I was like, oh man, if I could get Andy specifically to sign this, I'll be a happy man. So we're walking in. They had just like finished a sound check, and I was with Gabe Branco, and we pass Andy's dressing room, and he's just in there talking to somebody. And so Gabe knocks on the door, and he's like, "Oh, hey, Andy, this is my friend Bryce. He's wondering if you'd be able to sign his LP." So he did, and gave me a pic and all this kind of stuff. So really nice guy. So after the tour had ended, I just shot him an email and said, "Hey, this is I'm Bryce from Sebastian's other band, Silver Talon. We're wondering if we could get you to do a guest spot, do a guest solo." And he was into it, and so yeah, it was real easy from there, and very professional. And he sent over what he had, and it's over kind of a different sort of weird part, and it was absolutely perfect.
You have another great song in this album. In my opinion, it's one of my favorite tracks.
Okay.
In this Decadence and Decay. I'm talking about The Next to the Sun. In my opinion, I repeat, that's flamenco. The beginning of the song.
Oh yeah.
It's flamenco. You brought me Paco de Lucia.
Yeah.
My God, bro.
Oh man. It turned out really well. So I'm happy to hear that everybody's kind of digging it. So it seems to be one that a lot of people are like, "Oh man, love that song."
Of course.
And that intro, that's funny you mentioned Paco de Lucia, because it really was inspired a lot from Al Di Meola's Elegant Gypsy album.
I know,
so that
I know.
track that
Al Di Meola, of course.
Yeah, Mediterranean Sundance that he does with Paco de Lucia is like one of my favorite. The intro part of that coming from very heavily like Al Di Meola sort of inspired, and both Michael, our drummer, and Walter, our bass player, they managed to put together some rhythm stuff for it that was like perfect, and it just came together really well. And then crushing into the kind of heavy sort of like headbanging kind of riff. Yeah, that song turned out really well.
Oh,
I think that's Wyatt's vocals over that part too are they're very expressive. So everybody just I think everybody sort of heard it, and everybody was just like, "Okay, I got it. I know what we're doing on this one." Nobody was like trying to push it into something that it wasn't. Everybody was just kind of on the same page of like, "All right, we're gonna do some kind of like emotional sort of like jazzy, dancey kind of flamenco sort of thing, and then we'll just go straight into the raw power kind of stuff." And it worked out wonderfully.
Of course.
Thank you.
Very welcome. If you could choose 3 bands as the most significant influences of this record, what band would you choose and why?
Okay. So I would probably say, Nevermore is a huge influence there. And then probably King Diamonds, and I have to go Sabotage.
Wow.
And those seem to be the 3 that were maybe sort of most influenced by just sort of in general. So yeah.
Wow, Sabotage.
Whenever you need inspiration for a riff or something, it's like, listen to some Sabotage. And
Chris Oliva was fantastic.
Oh, so good. So good.
I was talking with Thomas Youngblood from Camelot, and he said the same. Chris Oliva was a fantastic guitar player.
Oh, okay. I have long wondered that about Camelot, if they had any kind of sort of Sabotage kind of appreciation. I mean, being from Tampa,
yes.
Or at least in the greater Florida area, I assumed that maybe there was.
That's it. You're correct.
I wasn't sure for sure.
So, now you know.
That's cool.
Yes, definitely. Can you tell me who are the other members of the band? Could you introduce us to their names and position, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So singing on vocals, we have Wyatt Howell. He's an original member, is on the Becoming a Demon EP. He's also the other, he and I are kind of the core nucleus sort of songwriting team, at least for Decadence and Decay.
Okay.
And then we have Sebastian Silva, who was in Spellcaster with me toward the tail end of that band's career, more or less. And so he was also on the Decadence and Decay EP, and yeah, really great guy, really great guitar player. And then we have a newer guitar player named Devin Miller. So we have 3 guitar players. Devin started out just kind of as like a live kind of fill-in guy when Sebastian was unable to get into the country. We had a handful of shows that we had to play, and he filled in for Sebastian. But the relationship there was it was good enough that we were like, okay, you can come into the fold and you can we'd love to have you full time in the band. So now we have 3 guitar players. He's also great.
Wow.
Yeah, Devin's also a great singer. So
like
he
Iron
is,
Maiden.
Yeah, exactly. But Devin's great singer as well. So he's able to really kind of provide some solid backup and harmony vocals for Wyatt, which is also on display on this record. And then we have Walter Hartzel, who is on bass.
Okay.
He's a newer bass player, but he's insane. He's like perfect combination between kind of like a newer sort of kind of like jazzy polyrhythmic sort of influenced bass player and like Steve Harris kind of stuff. So
Wow.
his bass lines they're the perfect blend of like technicality and just kind of like providing that sort of backbone to the song. So really glad to be working with him. And then our newest member is drummer Michael Thompson, and yeah, he came in and I think he started in like September or something. And by December he was recording the album. So he's a whiz of a drummer and just plays with a lot of backbone and a lot of authority. So
wow. Where can we buy your record? Any recommendation?
yeah, so you can get it straight from our label, M3 Audio, via our Bandcamp. So silvertalon.bandcamp.com. You can also find it for people that are international or whatever. If you go to smart URL /silvertalon, that has links to basically like the European distribution and all that kind of stuff. But for North American people, I think Bandcamp is probably the best. For Europe, Plastic Head is a good place to get it. And then we also have one coming out in Japan.
Wow.
Via Spiritual Beast. So really excited about that.
One day the vinyl record?
Yeah. So you can actually pre-order the LP for it as well. So we've already sold out of the limited to 100 like emerald tablet green vinyl. So now we have the other one, which is kind of like a green, gray, black sort of
beautiful
swirl. So yeah, those are all available via Bandcamp, and cassettes too if you're into that.
I prefer the physical material because it's like a part of the musician.
Yeah.
Go and buy physical material. The CD is better.
Yeah. I love the LPs just because it's big, you get the big the experience of just having vinyl with the big art and the big pictures and all that kind of stuff inside. It's great.
Any last words in this interview, Bryce?
Yeah, just thank you so much for the interview. Great questions, and Decadence and Decay is out May 28th. So I encourage everybody to check it out. Check out the first 2 singles, Deceiver I Am and As the World Burns. Those are out streaming now. And then the next single is going to come out on May 6th. So that's going to be Kill All Kings. So keep an eye out for that one.